If you can't avoid the attacker, sometimes the best option will be to deny the attacker access to your location. In many locations, this can be accomplished by closing and locking a door, such as they did in the meeting room. Locking the door has proven effective in many attacks. If the door does not have a lock, you can place heavy objects in front of it. Remember, barricades work best if the door opens toward you. If it doesn't, use things that are readily available, such as straps, belts, or objects that can be used to block or secure the door to make it difficult for the attacker to enter the room. This may at least slow the attacker down and give you time to identify alternate means of escape, such as adjoining rooms or windows. When attempting to deny access to your location, you want to make it appear that there is no one in your area. Lock doors, turn off the lights, silence your phones, and get out of sight. Your attempt to deny the attacker access to your location might fail.
The gunman's coming.
What are we gonna do?
We're gonna have to defend ourselves.
Have a backup plan about what you will do. In many cases, this may be to defend yourself. You need to be in a place where you can act if the attacker comes into your location. In most rooms, you will line up against the same wall that the door is on, near the door so you can react, but not directly in front of it. If you are unable to avoid or deny, your best option may be to defend yourself by using whatever is available. In a situation where someone is attempting to kill you, you have the legal right to defend yourself. Attack weak spots such as eyes, throat, and groin. Fight to the best of your ability and do not quit until the attacker is stopped. This is what the workers in the warehouse did when they were unable to avoid the attacker and felt their lives were in immediate danger. Whatever option you choose, call 911 as soon as you are in a safe location. Provide any information that you know. The operator will ask you a lot of questions. If you don't know the answer, don't guess. Just say you don't know and only state the facts. This will be a complex situation, and we can't tell you what you should do in every case. What we can do is provide you with information about the options that we have found to be most effective for surviving these attacks. The ultimate choice is yours. What you do matters. Avoid the attacker. Deny access to your location. Defend yourself. Law enforcement will be entering a chaotic scene with limited information. Their first priority will be to stop the threat to your safety. The police may not know where or who the threat is. Listen and comply with their commands immediately.
Put it down, sir. Put it down. Both of you on the ground.
Police are trained to look at people's hands to assess threats. Do not have anything in your hands that could be perceived as a weapon, such as a cell phone.
Show me your hands, sir. Show me your hands. Move to us. Everybody, keep your hands up, please. Walk out the door.
If told to do so, stay where you are and do not make sudden movements. Again, follow all commands. Remember, what you do matters. Avoid the attacker. Deny access to your location. Defend yourself. Remember, ADD. You can survive.
Again, you're going to hear avoid, deny, defend throughout this presentation. We're going to better prepare yourself for an active shooter event or life-threatening situation. We first got to look at disaster response, and that's the background science on how people behave in high-stress events. Amanda Ripley she did a study in her book, The Unthinkable Who Survives When Disaster Strikes and Why. She found that everybody goes through 3 phases. And the people that survived during these events went through the phases faster, quicker, and they did it. And the phases are deny, deliberation, and decisive moment. And again,
Denial. Just like in the World Trade Center, you know, people actually, when it went down, people were actually logging off their computers, calling other offices, hey, did y'all hear that? Getting their purses, grabbing their bags, and loading, like it wasn't, hey, we need to go right now. And why? They're in denial. Is this really happening? Is this how it's, you know, going down? So, but then, you know, after people get through denial, they go through the deliberation stage.
during the deliberation stage, this stage can kind of be problematic, because this is when your body and then your mind actually knows, oh no, something is actually happening. This is a life-threatening situation going on. So your body reacts to that stress, right? And what happens when your body reacts to it? Stress response goes up, right? Your heart rate goes up, everything starts, you start panicking, right? Flight or flight, right? A lot of people freeze. So how do you prepare yourself to get through deliberation stage? Well, we gotta look at the stress response.
Yeah. First, you have condition white. Your heart rate's at about 60 to 90. You're fine. Everything's going good. Then you get into yellow, where it goes to 90 to about 120. At this point in time, your fine motor skills start to fade, which is your fingers, you know, like being able to grab things and be able to touch them certain ways. After that, when you go into condition red, it goes from 120 to 150. And at that point in time, your complex motor skills, just being able to do anything, fades. I mean, you can't function, you can't grab, you can't even open a door. At that point, you go to condition gray, which is 150 to 175. And then condition gray, that's when you get tunnel vision. You won't even be able to see. I mean, that's all you can see, is that one little bitty thing that's gonna be there. Then when you go to condition black, it's gonna be 175. I mean, it's a system overload. You just freeze. You just stop. You don't even move. You're just standing still. Can't react at all.
We're gonna show you an example of denial stage and also deliberation stage of how people reacted in the Station nightclub fire in Rhode Island in 2003. It was taken by a reporter that was there that day. But just watch, it'll show you this concert at this little nightclub. There's fireworks in the background. Of course, fireworks in the building, what do you think's gonna happen? Alright, so the building's catching on fire right now. The reporter realizes what's going on and starting to get out of there, right? But everybody else is still thinking.
It's still party.
When he walks past his windows, notice smoke coming out of him. I don't know if you can see it, but. Yeah, there's the smoke coming out right there. So what happened? They panicked, right? And we're a creature of habits, right? We only know one way in, one way out. Most of the time. Oops. This is a diagram of the nightclub. You had an entrance hall where you saw everybody crowded at. You had these windows here, originally they said they were boarded up, as you see the smoke coming out. We don't think it's boarded up. You had your pool tables, and then of course this is where the stage and the fire went that way. Then you had an exit over here at the main bar, one by the kitchen, and of course you had one back there on the stage. And then of course your restrooms and your offices are all back there in the back corner. This next diagram is where they found the bodies at. 31 at the front door. 18 over here. Look how close they were to the windows. 9.
Whole row of windows, I mean, that's all windows.
And
You had people panicking running all through here trying to find an exit.
you said found the body, so none of these people survived.
No, these are all
yeah,
deceased.
all deceased.
As you saw in the window, they were all crammed in the door, couldn't get out, stamped. Look, you have 3 right here by the bar. Look how close over there to the exit, and to the kitchen. There's another exit. You know, you don't hear the police department talk good about fire department too often, and vice versa. We give each other a hard time. But however, the fire department did something really great. Anytime you see a fire exit sign that's lit up, it'll lead you outside somewhere. So any building you're ever in, if you see an exit sign, follow that exit sign, and eventually it will lead outside. So just keep on looking for those exit signs. So that's one thing great. Also, and we'll talk about that later on, is when you come in the building, always look for a secondary exit. You know, as law enforcement, you'll see in the restaurants and stuff. We sit by the kitchen in the restaurants, of course, with our back, you know, usually against the kitchen, facing the front of the restaurant, right? And this, 1, we can see who comes in. 2, we know there's a door, there's an exit, we need to get out. There's always a door close to the exit, close to the kitchen. So we'll talk about that more later on, but just something during the deliberation stage, this shows what happens when your stress response gets too high. You start panicking, you're not thinking straight, you run all around the buildings, and it can actually affect you. So what we want you to do during the deliberation stage, we want you to stay calm yourself. Combat breathing, you want to describe what that is?
Combat breathing is just an easy way to just calm yourself. It really works. Take 4 seconds. Breathing in, count 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let it out. 1, 2, 3, 4. And start that again. Do it about 4 times. And if anybody's ever been stressed, you'll notice that once you're done about that 4th one, you actually feel better. You know, before I used to take, you know, when we used to shoot and stuff like that, I'll do it right before I do it, just to calm myself down before I get started. And it actually truly does work.
Also shift your emotions. You'd be surprised when you actually either shift to stay calm or actually shift to get mad and be angry, what you can do when you're angry, right? What you can lift, what you can break, what you can do to get when you're angry. Stay fit. Now, I'm not talking about being a marathon runner. I'm not talking about being a bodybuilder or nothing, but just stay active. Because, you know, I have high blood pressure. But just, what does the doctors tell you when you have high blood pressure? Get out and exercise, right? Or get out and walk. Because what does that do? It lowers your heart rate. It conditions your heart, your cardiovascular system, right? So when stress hits it, I'm not already at 10 beats per minute. I was at 80. So when stress hits me, now I might be up to 110 instead of 140. All right, so it just lowers your heart rate, keeps your heart rate lower when stress hits, so you can actually respond and get through it. Also, during the deliberation stage, we want you to script and practice. What is script? Anybody know what scripting is? It's like a plan, right?
Oh,
You just plan it out, kind of like fire drill, or kind of like fire drill. You know what you're going to do during the fire drill, where to go. Well, practice is the actual drill. And Rick Priscorlo, we're going to talk about him. If y'all ever had a chance to look him up, he's a really great guy. All the stuff he accomplished in his life. He did die on 9/11. He worked for J.P. Morgan Chase, I think, whatever that company's called. You know, that's so many titles. But he was up there, and he actually prepared. He was there during the first bombing of the World Trade Centers, and of course he tried to get the company to move, and they wouldn't, so he was over there security. So he would practice all the time on exiting the building. We're going to get out of this building. This is how we're going to do it. So when the planes hit the World Trade Center, first thing he did, they already knew what to do. We're getting our stuff, we're leaving our stuff there, we're getting up, and we're getting out of here. You know, and of course, during that time, you know, like Scott told you earlier, Deputy Becker, is that there's stuff, announcement came over the phones and the speaker systems in the World Trade Center, stay where you're at. And he's like, we're not doing it, we're leaving. So their whole office got out of the building, and his last scene going up the flight of stairs before the World Trade Center collapsed. He's credited for saving over 2,700 lives that day. You know, and other people in other companies used to make fun of them for doing their drills and stuff. You know, so they thought, well, it's useless. That's never going to happen. Why are you doing it? And just like people make fun of school, fire drills and tornado drills in schools, right? Until it happens, and you wish you would have practiced it more.
Right.
Same thing with active shooter drills. And of course, this is just not for active shooter events. It could be anything. Just a crazy person walking in and let's get out of here before something bad happens, right? Be aware. Yes, decisive moment is the third phase.
Is it play?
Just click it once, it should work.
Cactus 1539, hit birds, so you're flying through the Philippines, returning back towards LaGuardia.
Okay, you need to return to LaGuardia. Turn left heading up 220.
220.
Tower, stop your departure. It's got emergency returning. It's 1529. He bird strike. He lost all engine. He lost the thrust in the engines. He's returning immediately.
Cactus 1529, which engines?
He lost thrust in both engines, he said.
Got it.
Cactus 1529. We can get it to you if you want to try to land 191
491, we made it enough.
I Cactus 1529. It's going to be left traffic to runway 31.
Unable.
Okay, what do you need to land? Cactus 1549, runway 4 is available if you want me to left traffic to runway 4.
Idiot, I'm not sure we're thinking runway, what's the number 2 on right? Anything in New Jersey, maybe Teterboro?
Okay, yeah, off your right side is Teterboro Airport. Do you want to try to go to Teterboro?
Yes.
Teterboro, Empire, actually, LaGuardia departure guy, emergency inbound. Cactus 1529, turn right 280, you can land runway 1 in Teterboro.
We can't do it.
Okay, which runway would you like at Teterboro?
We're gonna be that.
I'm sorry, say again, Cactus? Cactus 1549, radar contact is lost. You also got Newark Airport up to 2 o'clock in about 7 miles. Eagle Flight 4718, turn left thing 210.
210, 4718. I think he said he was going in the Hudson.
All right, decisive moment. At this point in time, it's time to make a decision and stick to it and do it. Don't wait. The worst thing you can do is wait. Like they were trying to tell him, you know, here, oh, you need to come here, you need to come here. He saw the only place that he knew he could put that airplane down and hopefully save himself and everybody in the plane compared to trying to make it to an airport 9 miles away. Obviously, when he said he was going in the Hudson, he went in the Hudson. So, how many neighborhoods were between the Hudson and those other airports? So he made a decision. It's a decisive moment. He made the decision, and he stuck with it.
All right, next we're gonna look at some.
Cactus.
Sorry. Next time we're gonna look at some research in active shooter events or active attack events. First of all, what is an active shooter event?
Yep.
Easy, simple, huh? An attempted mass murder event, right? Federal definition, you don't want to hear the federal definition, but basically 2 or more trying to commit mass murder, just simplify it. We're gonna look at this as a map from 2000 to 2018.
2008.
Okay, 2018. When I hit the play button, it's gonna be a dot for every active shooter event, not the casualty, but every event that actually happened. Of course, you have yellow for gun, red for knife, and of course blue for car. And of course, number of victims, small dots less than 4, and of course bigger dots more than 4. But it just, I don't think this map is up. We don't have anything updated since 2018, but let's see.
No, it stopped at 18.
COVID was a bad year.
And as y'all can see, yellow's gonna be gun, red's gonna be a knife, and blue is actually people when they use the car. And the diagram only shows 4 or more.
Wow.
I can take a guess how many that is so far?
Thousands.
I would say hundreds.
It is hundreds.
Yeah.
300.
300.
And 16.
I thought I was gonna show it, but 316. In 2021, did look at the stats, 61 were just in 2021. So add that to 200, 316, not counting what's in 2019, 2020.
Wow.
So, active shooter, who can be active shooter? Anybody, right? There's no set profile for them. You know, they come from all different walks of life, all different walks of religion, education, race, gender. There's been females out there, you don't hear a lot about them, but as you can tell, it's happened, right? So anybody can be an active shooter. They have noticed a lot of them have an avenger mindset. A lot of them, this is all bad, a lot of them used to broadcast what they were going to do. They're still doing that. In the past, they also used to not have an exit strategy, but now we see that they're putting exit strategies in their plans.
Wow.
So there are, it's adapting, and we're trying to adapt to them. But again, there's still no set profile who the active shooter is. So locations of attacks,
What do y'all think would be the main one?
like, for an example, commerce, business, churches, schools, outdoors.
It's actually business,
Business. Oh, wow.
about 50%.
And of course, people ask about schools. You hear about schools more because they're our loved ones, they're our little kids, they're vulnerable, But yes, and you also have churches we do hear about them a little bit on the news. But businesses is the majority of all active shooter attacks.
Wow.
Now, how, connection-wise, what do y'all think about connection? Do they have a connection with the place?
Oh, yeah.
Maybe past the
Does.
police,
Especially if it's business.
fired or angry.
Right.
Ain't grown
Nope.
this grown up.
56% have
No connection
whatsoever.
Wow.
So it's always, since we've been teaching, it's always hovered close to 50, but still it's always no connection at all, which makes it even scarier, because we don't even know who the person is, right?
Wow.
At least if it's a disgruntled employee, we know to watch out for that person.
Mm.
Or you'd be more alert, okay, we fire that person, they're mad, or they're mad at the girlfriend, or
Right.
they're whatever. We'll know, right? But now we have people that have no connections to that place at all.
Wow.
Complete strangers, just no connection, just wanting to do mass killing.
Wow.
I think we've lost a lot in society nowadays. A lot of morals we lost.
Yeah.
Actually, on these, there's a lot more detail into them. Y'all are such a small group, we're actually just gonna just probably tell you there, that, and what was a short, brief, we had some videos and stuff. We're just gonna shorten them up a little bit, so we're probably gonna be skipping through some.
Active shooter means something that, as y'all can see, nothing that's new. Edmond, Oklahoma. Anybody remember this date? And Edmond, post office maybe?
Going postal.
Going postal is
Going
when the term.
postal, see, yes, that's where the term came from, right?
Right here.
So that's the active shooter event. Over the years, we saw the terminology change. I think in the 90s, it was more mass murders, which is kind of switching to now. And then, of course, Columbine is when it switched to active shooter. So the terminology, active shooters events have been here for a while. Even school violence has been here for a long time too. But again, the terminology is changing, and of course, so it's something new, but it has been increasing. And of course, we can debate all day of why it's increasing. The next one's going to be Fort Hood, Texas, is another example. On this one, this was where the psychiatrist just shows you that you're smart. You can be really smart with a degree and still commit mass murder, right?
Exactly.
You have Tennessee, 2015.
And psychology degree of all degrees.
Yeah. Orlando, Florida, 2016. Marshall Caldwell, Carl, we were there for a conference, and we went by and saw the Pulse nightclub. We learned a lot. So did the fire department from this one. Mainly because the fire department locked down. Real quick, brief history. The Pulse nightclub, gas station, street, fire station, right? Well, they locked down the fire station, we couldn't take anybody there. And this is also where they locked themselves in the bathroom, we had to barricade themselves in the bathroom, the shooter did, and we had to breach the wall, or police department had to breach the wall and go through that. Fire department wanted the law enforcement officers to go ahead and take them to the staging area, which was past the level 1 hospital. Of course, the police department, we decided no, they said no, we loaded them up in back of pickup trucks, took them to the hospital. So we learned, fire department learned a lot too about staging and where to put the triage center at. So a little brief history about that. So every one of them we're learning a little bit. Dallas 2016, I remember that. That's where the bomb, they accidentally blew up the suspect with the robot.
Briefly.
And talking to the actual medic, or actually one of the doctors that was on that response team, he was also assigned to the SWAT team. They asked him how much explosives just to knock out the patient. You know, because they needed to knock him out, because there's no way to take him out without taking the officer out. So they were just trying to explode it, knock him out with a concussion. Of course, the doctor didn't really know, and it probably would have worked, but however, shrapnel came from the bomb and actually took out the suspect. So they didn't intend to kill him, they just didn't knock him out. It was just a lucky shot with the shrapnel that got a hold of him, which saved a lot of officers that night, because they already figured that at least a couple of them were going to come out once they tried to arrest him. Las Vegas, 2017.
Yeah, this was a one shooter, 58 people killed, 546 people were injured. This guy was up on
MGM.
Yeah, I was trying to remember what floor. He was on the 32nd floor. He had barricaded himself in the room, and he just had nothing but ammo. And he was just sitting out the window. They had actually a country concert going on that night. And he just opened fire. Like I said, 546 people injured, 58 killed.
And later on, we're going to talk about soft targets and hard targets, and this definitely, sitting out there in the open, is definitely a lot of easy targets, right? The next one, Sutherland Springs, Texas, 2017. We were actually heading to the alert conference 20 minutes away from here when this happened. That's when a neighbor came in, or actually somebody, not a neighbor came in, but the guy came in, actually was looking for his in-laws to kill him. Started shooting at the congregation. So telling me, one shooter, 26 killed, 20 injured, 23 found dead inside the church, 2 were found outside the church, 1 died at the hospital. Ages of the victims from 5 years old to 72 years old, right? One was even pregnant.
Wow.
Neighbor confronted the shooter, shot at him, he got in his truck, fled off, police pursued. And of course, he was later pronounced dead, with a self-inflicted gunshot wound. But still, you know, he didn't, innocent people in the church, right? Then Kentucky, 2018, I think this was a 15-year-old that did this with a handgun. Dayton, Ohio, 2019, didn't during COVID. Wisconsin, Milwaukee. San Jose, California, and of course the last one. And of course we just had, how many this past couple of weeks? 3?
30, 40s, something, 40s.
19 deaths. Let me see.
Oh, how many mass shootings?
mass shootings,
It's like
yeah.
40 something.
So,
Yeah, but I think there was one Sunday night where 8 were shot
Yeah.
in the Cooper Road area.
Yeah.
In one shot, I mean, in one instance.
so what determines the number of deaths? Target availability and how quick the police arrive. Go that way. Sorry, I can't guess wild numbers, more accurate numbers. How long do you think it takes for the police to arrive?
7,
7, 8 minutes? National average is 3 minutes. There's no way in the world we're making it there in 3 minutes, and even if we're at the donut shop next door, we're not gonna make it there in 3 minutes.
That's right.
I've called 911 for my wife that had medical problems, and I swear I think I spent 3 minutes on the phone with 911 before they could even dispatch the fire department, right?
Right.
8. So many questions.
So maybe 3 minutes is from the time of dispatch, where the officer actually gets it. But 3 minutes is a long time regardless. Let's just say it does take 3 minutes to get there. You get a lot of people in 3 minutes, right?
Yeah.
Or it's been shown, a lot of people. So that's the reason why reason why this course is out there is what to do during that 3 minutes to help reduce lives, stop the killing, and everything else. What for y'all to do as civilians until we get there. So it's civilian response.
Denial. Don't deny. Get gunshots. Go to deliberation.
Mm.
And then once you
You got to worry about it.
I'm gonna say plain dead. Y'all think plain dead's a good option?
If that's your last name,
All right, let's,
that's your last.
Virginia Tech, let's see what happens to this young lady at Virginia Tech.
She played dead. So listen to this.
So this is pretty
She did
important.
survive.
This day, I ended up sitting in exactly the same seat I always did, in the back right-hand corner on the right side of the class. What we don't know is at this time, someone is downstairs and he's chaining all 3 doors shut. There's supposed to be desks there. Oh, you guys can see. We heard the first gunshots outside in the hallway, and my teacher, she opened the door. She immediately slammed it and she said, "Call 911." And the second that door closed, he walks in. He walks in shooting. There's absolutely no time. He goes to the other side of the classroom by the windows. He's holding 2 guns. He doesn't say anything. He just starts going down the rows of people. It's very quick. It's very loud. It's very scary. We had these very shitty desks. I get on the floor. I put my knees under the chair, my stomach on the seat, hands overhead, eyes are closed. As the shots keep going, and it's, like I said, very loud, I can tell it's getting closer and closer. And I'm telling myself, brace yourself, your turn is gonna come. Now, I didn't know what that meant. Like, I didn't think I was gonna get shot, but I knew that something really serious was going on. And I knew for whatever reason that I should just play dead. He shoots me. The first time's in the back. And you'd be surprised, getting shot doesn't hurt that much because shock overtakes you. But it starts to like burn and really kind of seep in, and that's when it gets really uncomfortable. It's not pleasant. He leaves the first time, he goes across the hall, and while he's gone, cell phones are ringing, people are coughing, and the smell of gunpowder has like completely filled the room. Gunpowder is like this really sticky, pungent, warm smell, and it just makes you very, very thirsty. He comes back. Now, this time, the shooting is more intermittent. It's slower because he's looking to see who's alive. I remember telling myself to stop breathing because I can feel my stomach hitting that chair, and I'm saying, stop, like, he can see that you're alive. The third and final time, he killed himself in front of our classroom. When the police broke in, the first thing the guy said was, "We have a lot of blacks in here." I didn't know what that meant, but when police sweep a crime scene, they have 30 seconds. If you're red, you're critically injured. If you're yellow, you'll live. Black means you're dead. In 9 minutes, he killed 11 of my classmates and my teacher. 32 people lost their lives that day.
She was lucky. That's like playing Russian roulette, right? Because we know in Columbine, they were calling people to get up, shooting them, right? Or even other active shooter events where they will actually kick you to find out if you're alive or not and still shoot you, right? So playing dead, we don't encourage it. If she lucked out, that's going to be your personal call for that one. What we also don't want you to do that. Exactly. They walk around on the desk, see you there, you can't react right, you can't defend yourself, you can't fight right, you're stuck. And do you think that desk is bulletproof? Or most, and look around the room, I don't see anything in here that's bulletproof, right? So don't hide and hope is what we definitely don't encourage that.
Deliberation. This is the point. Avoid, deny, defend. Run, hide, fight. This is your chance. If you have the chance, avoid it. Run. I'm sure every one of y'all are here just like me. I think like I said, avoid, deny, defend. Run, hide, fight.
because that's the first thing you need to do, is be aware, that way you can avoid, right? So here's the school board meeting in 2010 in Florida.
You notice it's on the chart that you have there, and it's part of this meeting, but this would be the first step in that whole process. I have a motion.
That's spray paint you're hearing about.
Everybody in this room.
It's gonna go to a different item. The V for Vendetta. And the ones that can see in the background, he is holding a gun.
Get your purses, get your bags.
Grab a purse, come on. Everything. He's, the gunman's over here.
John, just let him talk. He's talking. John, go ahead.
Little lady.
With the purse.
And here comes another lady. As Marshall Caldwell would say, that's WF. Yes.
And you say he does have a
She
gun?
comes to help him. He's the one that's gun.
He's got a gun.
No, he didn't show us.
Can we talk for a minute? Just, I want to do the person. Can I ask you a question? Can I ask you a question? Because I really don't know who you're talking about, to be very honest with you. I have no idea who you're talking about. She was fired. I believe that when she said that, but what did she do?
Talking about his wife is fired.
Mike, can you just help us a little bit? Where does he work in school? He needs some help. No, he's saying, hey, no. Boy, we sure want to go. Come on in. Guy, I'm the school safety officer. Oh, come on in. You got a grill down there? Come on in. Nah, we're gonna wait, man. He probably doesn't. Tell me what she did. They're called with police incidents. I know that. But tell me.
It was a school safety officer, but he's unarmed.
Part of what? Sir, I don't know what you ran to stop taxes, okay? You said, we don't need no taxes. No, that's not your money. Then as soon as you got in the school system, then you turned around and said, oh, now we need to have some sales tax again. I said we need to have some sales tax from the very beginning. I campaigned on that. Oh, yes, I did. You can look on the material. I said from the beginning, have some sales tax is the most equitable way because everybody pays it, not just property owners. But see, here's what I don't want to happen. I don't want anybody to, just listen to me for a minute. I don't want anybody to get hurt, and I've got a feeling that what you want is the cops to come in and kill you because you're mad, because you say you're gonna die. But why? This isn't worth it. This is a problem. Please don't. Please don't. Please.
Right. He missed each person, so everybody lived. Gunman was killed by the security officer. He was a retired cop, went outside the parking lot, got his gun out of his car, came back and confronted him and shot him. As you can tell, he was kind of upset because what happened is the background of the story is they fired his wife. They cut the whole school board system, fired a lot of people. They didn't want to raise taxes, according to the gunman. And then all of a sudden, once they fired all these people, laid them off, then they came back, let's raise taxes. So that's what he was mad about. We're gone.
Won't be
Like,
collecting
nobody used the
anything?
avoid. Nobody. They all just sat there and watched. I mean,
Time when she attacked the shooter. What did all the other guys do?
Sat there.
Exactly. Well,
That was that, what y'all saying, the stress level.
yes, yeah, they were red, black, somewhere in there. I mean, they
And then we talked about, y'all, Deputy Decker talked about those ladies picking up their purse, right? Leave them there. They will be there when you get them, when we come back, all right? The police is not gonna take them
I look at my purse like
Because
a
at this
weapon.
point, I mean, he's already spray painted the wall, and he's already pulled the gun.
Right.
And he actually told them, y'all can leave. So what did they do?
Bye-bye.
They all gathered all their stuff up and walked out the door.
All right. Now, let's not talk about the other little lady, I don't wanna call her crazy, but can I help her? Can I help her out? Can I help her? I know you have a gun, but can I help her?
No, she's not there.
She is crazy. She's cray right there. So that's something
And was-
that we don't want you to do. We want
And
you
was
to be
he
aware of your
drunk?
surroundings.
Was he drunk?
I don't think that he was drunk, but they did
Yeah.
find out
No,
about
she
leaking.
did.
He was just disgruntled. I mean, his wife, I think it didn't say how many years, but she had been a teacher. And
Seemed like he was just rocking, like he couldn't.
no, that's just.
Just
They
wasted.
actually looked at good
Yeah,
marks
that's
and
adrenaline. I mean, you can imagine his adrenaline had to have been pumped.
He looked really calm.
Yeah, he was.
And we think, you know, some speculation is that they actually looked at him, you know, how he shot and stuff, and he was actually a good marksman, so there should have been a reason why he missed unless it's stress level, or he missed on purpose. But either way, luckily nobody was killed, and of course, that whole situation, they need to be more aware of their surroundings, and should have gone as soon as he started spraying, pulling out the can of spray paint, right?
Exactly.
So, all right, so what we want you to do during the voice stage, leave ASAP, don't be like those people. Know your exits, we talked about that earlier, right? And then also call 911 when it's safe to do so. And then also consider secondary exits, we talked about that earlier. Deny, we want you to lock the doors like you saw in the video, lights out of sight. Silence your cell phones.
Barricade yourself, the heavier the better, the more the better. Door stops are even better, you know, the wood ones, the rubber ones, have them. Have one in each one of those little rooms in there right by the door. That way, if something happens, you know, even if the door doesn't lock, you're not opening through a door stop. It ain't happening.
I know some of these doors, they open up outwards like that one right there for the kitchen, you know, like you saw. Something. Right.
So,
Or barricade, of course, there's nowhere to go in that kitchen. Maybe through this wall and back out, maybe.
so if the door opens towards
That's what we got to talk
As you
the
saw in the-
barricade, but if it's away,
Right. Or like for this one, let's just say this wasn't glass here. You know, grab a belt, grab something. Wrap around here, right?
Right.
And just hold it.
they're gonna have to do
You know, or for these, since these actually have,
The stop.
you know, wrap around this for the door closers. Cause this, as you notice,
That was loud.
well, that one, you keep it from opening, it's not gonna open up. And I do like that y'all have the windows covered, so somebody can't see in. Of course, they can't just shoot through the windows, but at least they're not, you don't know where they're shooting at, or where you're shooting at, or he or she's shooting at. Then also outward opening ropes, we talked about that, tactical clinches, they actually make stuff aftermarket, stuff you can buy on Amazon and other places, on the website, to help. And then, of course, your final one, if you can't deny, is to defend yourself. And we talked about that positioning, where to grab it.
And fight, is dirty. This is for your life. Especially, you know, like you said, eye gouging, you know, grab whatever you can. I mean, there's some heavy objects around here. I'm swinging them. I mean, this, yeah, I mean, it's for you. I mean, what?
I don't see nothing in this building. Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's plenty. Was he plenty? He just named
It's
one.
some stuff.
Saying chairs,
Stand, mic
don't
stands.
chairs down.
Mic stands. Mic stands. are
Even
better.
these cords,
Simple.
these cords with the,
See, look, I said, wrap the cord around that. She's ready for it.
well, now you gotta fight.
No, you got.
Hey, it's kinda hard to shoot if chairs keep on flying at you, right?
Yeah.
Is what flying at you?
Chairs.
Oh, yeah.
Anything. Have your mindset, that's one thing about defend, have your mindset ready for it.
Yeah.
And also remember, this is a Lieutenant, my mind went blank, Brian Murphy, thank you. His actually responded to Moss. And the shooter shot through, the first shot went through his chin and down his larynx. In fact, several, I think 9 out of how many times, I can't remember, 9 times, don't quote me on this, but maybe 6 of the 9 shots could have been fatal, but he still survived. You know, he had his mindset, I'm not going out in the parking lot, I'm not going out like this, I'm not going to let my wife down, I'm not going to let my daughter down, I'm not going to let my stepkids down. You know, he had his mindset, I'm going to survive. And look, you know, he did survive. You know, he didn't give up. He didn't give up on the fight. On the back, the medics wouldn't come up there and get him. So the police officers had to put him in the back of their car and take him down to the medics. And on the back of on the dash or the car camera, you can actually hear him in the back seat doing the combat breathing. You know, calming his heart rate down. Because why? You don't want that blood flowing out, right? It slows shot. But as long as you have your mindset that I'm not giving up, you know, hopefully you won't. Virginia Tech, we're going to talk about this. You already heard the lady that played dead. This is Norris Hall. The suspect already killed two people before coming here. And we already talked about 3 minutes, right, for the police respond. Well, here he changed the doors. This is the second floor. This is basically a diagram how the classes were arranged. You want to read through this, or you need to read through it?
Yes. Got room 206. Shooter started there. He walked in, just started killing people. He left and returned later to shoot more.
And that just shows nothing was done in that room, right? When I look at the casualty rate. Not over 90% were shot, and then over 70% that were actually killed. Nothing was done in that room, right?
Room 211. Teacher heard shots, told the students to call 911. So at least they called 911 out of that room. Students attempted to block the door with a desk, but the shooter just pushed his way in and shot the professor and walked down the aisles, killing students. Shooter returned later and shot more students in that room.
So they tried to block the door, you know, right, deny access. Of course, 100% of people were shot, but look at the fatality. A little less, right? Something was done.
Room 207. Second room attack. Shooter walked in, shot several students and the teacher. He then walked down the aisle shooting students. Shooter left. Shooter attempted to return, but students used their bodies to barricade the door. Shooter got the door open 1 inch, also fired several shots into the doorknob area, but no one else was hit in that room.
But they completely denied access the second time, right? Now look, still about 80% shot, and only 35%, not below 40 killed, right? Now, if he would have got back in, what do you think that would be? Probably more people shot, right? More people dead.
Room 204, the professor, I can't even pronounce his name. He was actually a Holocaust survivor. As the shooter approached, he held the door shut. When the shooter tried to enter, he started yelling at the students to jump out the window. Shooter shot the teacher through the door, killing him. 10 students made it out the window before the shooter got in. 2 more were shot trying to get out, but both survived. Of the 6 who did not get out, 4 were shot, and only 1 was shot dead.
Now look, secondary exits, right? A boy denied access to it, held the door shut. Unfortunately, the professor died. Survived the Holocaust, but didn't survive here in the United States.
The last one would be 205.
Okay, and then we have room 205.
Students heard the shots, used their feet to keep the door closed. The shooter pushed on them and fired through the door, but never gained entry into the room. Clearly playing within.
Say, there's nothing. They denied access completely. And we were actually in Orlando, and one of the survivors from room 205 was there, and she talked to us. I need to put that picture up one day on one of these slides.
But on the, real quick on that one, but just like the girl in the video who did the talking that was actually shot, played dead, clearly playing dead is not the way it worked.
Right. They had a podium in the classroom that was closer to the door, and they had this big, tall guy. And he laid down on the bottom, braced himself against the podium, and then they don't know why the podium didn't move. They're assuming a bunch of wax built up, or who knows, it could have bolted down to the floor. And then he put his feet against the door at the bottom of the door. The shooter kept on trying to get in and couldn't. And of course, then they had this plan too, after it's all said and done, is when they hear the knock on the door, they're going to open up. And if it's the police, they're going to open the door wide open. They're going to get the police hugs and everything else, and the police are going to hug them, and that's how it's going to happen. Well, sure enough, all that ended and stuff, and all of a sudden, knock on the door. Police open the door. The guy slammed it shut. No, that's what I forgot to do. The other plan was if it's the shooter, they're going to slam it shut. So he slammed it shut. They looked at him and was like, "Is this the shooter?" He said, "No, it's the police." They're like, "Well, open the door." All he saw was a gun in their face. And then, of course, the police came in. This is what we learned from this incident, was every other word was a cuss word out of their mouth. Get on the blank ground, get on the blah, blah, blah. And of course, these people are already in shock, right? Traumatized, right. So they can't hear the orders. They don't understand. And like what she said she's very, I forget what word she used, but anyways, she had to sit there and decipher, like, okay, get on. Give clear orders that way. In situations like this, they can understand us better. All right, then the next. That's still 2005 or 205.
You are not helpless. What you do matters.
When the attack starts, what we want you to do.
If you can,
If you
avoid.
Yep. Run, avoid.
Primary exits.
Look for them, right? If there are some, what are we going to do? We're going to take the exits, right? We're going to avoid. If there's not, what are we going to start doing? Exactly. We're going to start denying. And then, okay, we get in that room. Let's say that room right there. What are we going to start doing then after we start denying access to it? What are we going to start doing now?
Barricading and
What else? What's your next mindset?
fight.
Well, getting ready for that, but what else? Is there any secondary exits, maybe?
Oh,
We're gonna look for other exits, right? We're gonna try, the whole point is trying to get out of there, right, quickly as possible. If there are, we're gonna go back to avoid. If not, we're gonna start working on defending, right? Grabbing scissors, anything we can, coffee pots, chairs. For you, cords. She wants to strangle somebody so bad,
I watch him.
We're gonna have to watch her. We're gonna have to have intervention with her later on. We're gonna talk about where this anger comes from. That's your security person right here. Just sit her at the door next to the chair with a rope in her hand or some cord. So when the police arrive, okay, go ahead.
It's actually the priority of our work. We're there to stop the killing. That's our first priority. If you are involved in something like that and we go right past you, because there's still shooting and stuff going on, that's just going to happen. People are going to be reaching and grabbing. But we are taught to go to the threat till the threat is down.
Right. Because we don't want them killing any more people than what they can. So we're going to put them, and don't worry if we pass over and we know you. I'm going to say, ma'am, that likes to strangle people, I'll be right back, right? Then we're going to come back to stop the dying. And then we're going to evacuate the area. And when we want you to follow our commands, like I said in the video, show us your hands, don't move. We tell you don't move, because that's what we're looking for weapons. We're looking for the possible shooter. We don't know who the shooter is. You know, unfortunately, it has been situations in here in the United States that we actually shot the good guy. It's just bad timing. That person took out the suspect right when the police was walking in. They saw that person take out the suspect or shoot somebody, and they just assumed that's our shooter. Let's put the shooter down, right? So show your hands, show your palms, and don't move until you don't move. Expect medical delay. You know, people are going to need help. So that's the reason why we also want you during that time to seek medical training. Just simple training. Stop the bleeds, what we push. And also expect mental trauma. Hopefully y'all have some type of plan in action, or y'all can get some plan in action. Who we're going to call if this happens, that way they can talk to. What other preachers can we call? You know, come in to help. Or even psychologists or psychiatrists, whatever, professionals help deal with the stress, because there's going to be a lot of stress. One thing you haven't noticed, there's a whole presentation, we haven't named the names of the shooters, have we? That's part of this campaign. We're not going to give them credit for this. We don't want them to get credit for this. I hate to be rude, but they were nothing when they were here. Let's let them die and be nothing, not be famous, right? We encourage the media not to say it. You know, of course, I kind of argued with the reporter about this. Yes, you're going to say the name. We kind of understand that. Say it once and just refer to him as a shooter. There's no sense to keep on saying that person's name over and over and over during the whole broadcast, right? So you're giving them credit, you're giving other people, oh, I want that thing, all right? Nobody liked me in school. Nobody liked me in life or whatever. I hate now everybody's going to know me. So we encourage, don't name the shooters' names. What we want you to do is remember the people. This is Miss Soto, first grade teacher. That's Cindy Cook. She died. And let's talk about her a little bit. Let's give her some credit. First grade teacher Cindy Hood, on the day the monster came into school and murdered as many kids as he could, she put herself between the killer and the kids. Her classroom is where some of the kids survived. She gave her life to protect them. You know, that's who we want to mention. And that's who we want to honor instead of the shooters. And we also have Miss McQueen, physical education teacher, math teacher. She would face the student shooter. She ran and attacked the shooter and pinned him down until the police arrived. She lived. So, another thing, like we talked about stop the bleed, seek medical training, right? This is a program that came out in 2016, the White House Initiative. We push it here at the Marshal's office, and James Jefferson's even added to this where we can push it out even more to the public. This will help us out a lot, especially in a situation like this. And not even for an active shooter, but let's just say you're at home and you're mowing your yard and you stick your foot underneath the lawnmower for some reason. You know, or you get in a car wreck and you're bleeding out really bad. This is the program to help stop, massive bleeding. Here's a little video y'all might have seen this show back in 2016. Actually, this commercial's on TV right now.
You've probably seen these boxes on our set. They are bleeding control kits.
They're part of the new White House initiative. Soon, you'll be seeing them on the walls of public spaces.
Airports, shopping malls, even your place of business. Open the box and you'll find what you need to stave off a bleeding wound.
And give the victim time for help to arrive.
These are items that you should also have in your home and car,
The kit comes with gauze, scissors, and a tourniquet.
as well as gloves to protect you and the patient.
Often holding pressure firmly against a wound or wrapping it tightly will stop the bleeding.
But in more severe cases, a tourniquet may be required.
It should be slipped on the limb and fastened above the bleeding wound. Then use a plastic rod to tighten it until the bleeding stops. Once applied, the patient should be taken to the hospital and the tourniquet removed by medical personnel only.
Make sure you call 911 first. For more information and instructional videos, please visit these websites.
You can save a life by learning how to stop the bleeding.
CBS Cares.
It's pretty much basically just a little first aid class, but it actually does work. I guess I started teaching this 3 years ago. major, whatever, you know, nowhere, nothing like that. At home, one guy cut himself with a chainsaw, the other one, I can't remember all the situations, but actually remembered what we taught in the class, used them, got himself to the hospital, and got saved. Because it only takes actually 3 minutes. You cut a major artery, you have 3 minutes to make it, to stop that bleeding. If you don't stop that bleed, you will bleed out.
Yeah, just think about that time, it takes us 3 minutes to get to you, right? Medical treatment. Something else I push too is have a basic CPR and AED class, you know, for everybody to take. That way you know how to use it, or you know how to give CPR, because, you know, look at, we're not all getting younger nowadays. Of course, even look at the young people, you know, they're having heart problems and everything else, so be familiar with how to do CPR, prevent choking and stuff. My wife was 41 when she had her incident. It wasn't a heart attack, it was an anoxic, or not, she has anoxic brain damage now, but it was a dissection of the artery, so, you know, shocking her helped in a way, but in a way it didn't. But if it had been a normal heart attack, she would have been here walking right now with us and talking with us and everything else. But still, she was only 41 years old and had heart problems. Well, we didn't know she had heart problems, it just spontaneous. So, look at the football players, right? You know, you never know what happens. So I encourage everybody to take a regular basic CPR class, call your fire department, and or Red Cross, and try to at least have a little class. I know sometimes to get certified it's like maybe $20, and there's other programs out there that's for free on how for CPR and AED stuff. All right, well that's it. Our presentation, guys. Any questions?
I got one thing.
Okay. Well, this is Deputy Shard. He's here. Go ahead.
I don't need that mic, I talk loud. I do
About the
security, at the Simple Church. We use the convention center downtown. And, one thing I noticed about your door over there, you can use several different devices. Do y'all know most of your members? So when you're here getting ready to start, they make little latches that you